So let's talk a little bit about brisket.
Yes.
This is actually our take 2 on this show.
Let me move the fork.
And I'm only saying that because this plate was full of brisket when we first started. It's right.
Oh, right here. There we go. There. Down below.
American. This is like this is Canadian.
On the
I won't tell you what
bottom.
that means.
We're setting up a beautiful 22-pound Texas brisket. So what we've done so far is we've trimmed it to begin with, and then of course we marinated it. The marination, what I like to do is add a little bit of garlic injected in each piece. I've cut up about, 7-8 cloves of garlic in smaller pieces and just put them in various areas of this brisket. So we have over here the tip or the flat part, which I cut off, and then of course the main brisket itself. As well as doing that, I've injected it with a beef broth, so it's going to come out beautiful. My spices, being Texas, is coming down to a very coarse cracked black pepper, and then we have a kosher coarse salt, and then for the binder, and a lot of people have thoughts on this, but basically mustard is going to be rubbed all over this brisket, and then of course these spices are going to be put on, along with, if I may add, it's one of my favorites, and you can put whatever you guys want on it, but I choose to put a little bit of espresso coffee in there on top of my brisket, combined with the salt and pepper. But basically, it's been trimmed, it's been marinating for 24 hours. I'm about to unwrap it, and then we're gonna pat it dry, so get all the moisture off of it. That's very important, especially if you want the smoke to adhere into the brisket. And you don't wanna overpower the rub on it. Again, putting too much rub on this brisket, when you put it in the smoker, the smoke will not penetrate into the meat. Now you can use a binder also as an oil. I've done that in the past, but I prefer a mustard, and you do not taste it at all. It pretty well burns itself off. I'm gonna put these on the racks, just like that. Nice and right about there. How's about that? It's one thing I want to point out though, when you put meat on a rack, whether it's your pulled pork, shoulders, or whatever have you, in this case, my brisket, I want to push all the meat together. That way it doesn't dry out in the smoker. You know, I've already injected it with a beef broth, so that's fantastic for moisture content, and it'll hold, and hopefully the juices just run out once this is all said and done and finished. And basically, I'm going to set the smoker at around 200 on a very low smoke. A lot of people like the 225 or a high heat. I do it low and slow. Is watch my temperature with these bad boys. I've got my probes here, and I'll just grab one here to show you. Now, the probe itself, make sure that you put it in the thickest part of the meat, and in my tip and flat here, I'm going to inject it right about there, so that way it's got good temperature in the middle, so I'll know when it's hitting that 165 internal temperature before I'm about to wrap these afterwards. Next thing hopefully I show you is the bark that's going to develop from the smoke on these bad boys, and then we're going to wrap it in a butcher paper and then let it go to about a 200 to 203 internally, and then we'll show you that in a few minutes. Well, in a few hours, I should say. And smoker tubes can be bought on Amazon. As I said before in one of my previous videos, this goes for about 2.5 hours. You can get the half size. These are 12-inch, and then the 6-inch will go maybe an hour or so. But as you can see, basically I'm running 2 smoker tubes for my brisket. On my blend, I'm running a Traeger gourmet blend. Now the gourmet blend from Traeger basically has some maple, hickory, cherry. And then I'm running some hickory over here just to make it a little bit stronger on the hickory end of it. And I'm going to show you how I light these. Fairly easy. Of course, getting a torch like this, get a good flame. And all you're going to do is basically the very top opening where you put the pellets in is basically turn this up a bit, get that nice and hot,
And then you're going to see a flame's going to start to appear here. And then, of course, if I was to let this flame go out, thus you have the smoke. Mr. Know-It-All,
What?
come on over and try some of my Texas brisket. I'm about to pull it up here, and maybe I could teach you something. You ready for this?
Yes.
Texas brisket. I can't wait.
What are you getting 2 coolers? Like, holy cow.
It's a big brisket, 22 pounds. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is great. Holy shit! My car keys.
Oh, you needed those.
What the hell? Oh my God. Lisa's gonna be happy. I've been giving her shit. I thought she put it away.
Oh, well.
Oh,
Absent-minded.
found them.
All right, let's get to it.
All right. No, really, there is a Texas brisket in here besides car keys.
It's like wrapped in what?
Oh, this is wrapped in butcher paper, pink butcher paper. A lot of people might use tinfoil. Look at this drippings coming off the bottom.
We'll get a close
The hard work is paying off. And look at the bottom of that.
Hang on.
That's some bark. That's what people want
Bark.
on your beautiful brisket. And the trick is, whenever you're slicing a brisket, you know, the grain runs a certain way on every piece of meat. And the brisket, you try to look for it, even with the bark, it's hard to find. And hopefully I'm doing this right. But I'm assuming the way my brisket was cooked and the way it looks with the bark on it, that the grain's running this way, so I'm going to cut against the grain. And the whole reason for that is that whenever you're pulling or chewing onto this brisket, you want it to pull apart very gently. And that's why you cut against the grain.
Yeah, so it's pretty typical for most meats.
Exactly.
Except I have a problem when you call it bark. I know it's bark, but it's just, for me, amateur.
I hear you.
It's like, there's a dog down there.
Okay.
So, go Bart.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let's
And hopefully he's chosen the right way.
come in real close here if you could, Mike, just to show you how beautiful. Look at the color on that. Now that's what you want when you're finished brisket. Look at the, and then, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you can see the juices flowing.
Oh, yeah.
That is amazing the way this turned out. So I can't wait for a bite, Mike. What about you?
Absolutely.
So here we go. Try this bad boy right here. Mmm.
No, wrong way. You're supposed
Hey,
to
buddy.
You're supposed to turn the other way, and then I would steal one. Describe it.
Mmm. It's hard to describe, but I'm enjoying it too much. I've been loving this.
Yeah, it's got a real deep flavor.
It's got a good smoke flavor.
Oh, yeah. Actually, after you have a couple of chews of it,
Yeah.
you start to notice the smoke flavor. You don't notice that right away. And you notice how much juice is in it.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
And you know what? A lot of people, when they show up at these barbecue shacks or the festivals and all that, and pulled pork goes so much for half a pound or a sandwich and all that. When it comes down to brisket, it's almost double because of the amount of work that goes into this, Mike.
You know what's amazing, too, about this?
What's that?
Is-
I love the bark area.
Even if you don't have the bark area,
Yeah.
you can really taste everything on the inside. A lot of times, if you're cooking chicken or whatever, it's usually the outside that you taste most of the flavor.
Yeah.
But there's an amazing amount of flavor on the inside.
Mike, one thing I've learned over the years, especially when I lived down in Texas, is that a lot of people will throw, when they start barbecuing, they'll throw 7, 8 different rubs on there. And you got to keep it simple. The KISS system. As I said, the Texas that I'm used to is just the salt and pepper. And again, I added the espresso coffee to this. I didn't go into 4 or 5 different spices overall.
And I haven't
It's addictive, isn't it?
It's really good. And I haven't crunched down on any keys either, so that's even better. That you were left in there from before. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you know what's really interesting too is
What's that?
there's not a lot of extra salt flavor. Like some people over salt things,
Right.
and it's not.
And on that point, Mike, I want to make somebody else understand. Lisa's not a big pepper person. Lisa is not a big pepper person, my girlfriend. And whenever a brisket or a pulled pork that's got a rub on the outside, and once it goes into the smoker, Mike, it basically burns off. So you get very little pepper. This is caked with coarse pepper. But, it doesn't taste peppery.
Does she mind the peppery flavor?
Oh, she can't do this. She has to do straight meat and not the bark because she tastes the little bit of pepper in any way.
I mean, you can really taste the pepper. It's interesting how the pepper is more prevalent over the salt.
Yes.
So.
And that's a 50-50 mix. And that's kosher, coarse salt.
Yeah.
Very kosher. I don't know. I'm sorry with my mouth full here.
It's really
But
good. It's amazing flavor.
There you have it. There you
Yeah.
have it, ladies and gentlemen. Texas brisket.
Wow.
And I'll add the recipe of my version to this segment. That way you guys can sit down and please, like and subscribe. Send in all your questions, right, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah.
Send in every question you have. I'll be glad to see. I'm not always right. It's my opinion on how to make it. Everybody, it's a science. Everybody has their version.
You know what's amazing about this too is the after flavor.
Mm.
Like I'm still tasting it.
Yes.
From, whatever a minute from the last time that I had some.
I'm ready to grab some really good buns, some good mustard, or even barbecue sauce, and just pour that on.
Even more. We got flies in
We
bed.
got flies. Yeah, they're coming. They're not touching this brisket. I tell you, kill that fly.
Kung Fu. No,
I know.
No, it's what is a Karate Kid, right? No, when he catches it with the chopsticks. Can't do that.
Yeah. So there you have it.
That's good stuff, man.
Glad everybody enjoyed it.
Well,
Then you rub it.
Yeah.
That's what she said. Anyways, the rub. Michael?
Yeah, go ahead. So, crunchy, you're making noise over there. It's like wrapping paper. You got to watch this. Okay, I'm taking this off.
As long as I don't do a big belch.
It's making noise.